Level of preparedness of elementary teachers in Magdalena District towards COVID-19, a basis for contingency planning. Research problem. What preparation did the elementary teachers in Magdalena District towards COVID-19 as their basis for a contingency plan? Research questions. 1. What is the mean level of preparedness of elementary teachers in Magdalena District towards COVID-19? 2. Is there a significant relationship between the level of preparedness of the elementary teachers in Magdalena District to COVID-19 as their basis for a contingency plan? According to WHO, 2020, COVID-19 declared as the novel coronavirus outbreak a public health emergency of international concern, which was the sixth declaration of its kind in WHO history. Contingency, 2020, discussed that the outbreak of COVID-19 is expanding exponentially, spreading beyond borders and spreading across continents. It has been classified as a pandemic. It created havoc and dismay among all nations. Coronavirus disease 2019, COVID-19, is an infectious disease caused by severe acute respiratory syndrome coronavirus 2. Noji, 2020. Adem, 2020, said that COVID-19 is a new strain of coronavirus that has not been previously identified in humans. Coronaviruses are zoonotic and are a large family of viruses that cause illnesses ranging from the common colds to more serious diseases, such as MERS and SARS. According to Haywood, 2020, understanding individuals' behavior and their relationship to their perceived risk are important in terms of effective control of an outbreak of infectious diseases. Balazer, 2020, conducted a study to understand local public health workers' perceptions of pandemic influenza response. The perceived risk among public health workers is associated with several factors that are peripheral to the actual hazard of this event. Barr, 2020, investigated how a population perceives the threat of an influenza pandemic, and what was their preparedness to comply with specific public health behaviors in the event of pandemic influenza. The perceived risk of infection and precautionary behavior can be dynamic over time, and differ by demographic characteristics and geographical locations. Ibuka, 2020. Park, 2020, reached the point that Korean students increased their frequency of hand hygiene practices during the pandemic, with significant gender differences existing in the attitudes and behaviors related to the use of hand hygiene as a means of disease prevention. Gilbert, 2020, assessed that they identified the country's capacity to detect and respond to cases with two indicators, preparedness and vulnerability. Countries were clustered according to the Chinese regions that contributed most to their risk. ECDC, 2020, said that preparedness planning is essential to respond effectively to outbreaks and epidemics. Each country should assess its risk and rapidly implement the necessary measures at the appropriate scale to reduce both COVID-19 transmission and economic, public, and social impacts. WHO, 2020. The COVID-19 pandemic has exposed a suboptimal response to this threatening global disaster, including the response to the psychological impact. STIP, 2021. According to Zidane, 2021, the COVID-19 pandemic causes major emotional distress. Lack of effective treatments and availability of the current vaccines for this virus increases the fear of being infected and infecting others. COVID-19 pandemic has a major impact on mental health. The most common distress reactions include anxiety, insomnia, perception of insecurity, anger, fear of illness, and risky behaviors. Sheikh, 2021. Hussein, 2021, stated that COVID-19 is a highly contagious lower respiratory tract infection that can be transmitted through droplets or by touching surfaces contaminated during coughing or sneezing from both symptomatic and asymptomatic persons. Highly contagious patients are called superspreaders. Liu, 2020, said there is no doubt that the COVID-19 pandemic is a major stressor that is impacting mental health worldwide. Morn, 2020, discussed that the style of modern life has changed with more people opting to live alone without family members, and being connected more to the media and computers. Peter, 2020, said that the COVID-19 pandemic is unique. Advanced technology makes it possible for individuals to update themselves with continuous alarming news. Levin, 2020, showed that the COVID-19 pandemic is having a major impact on the global economy. It has caused the most severe economic recession of the last 100 years, with tremendous damage to jobs and savings, especially for young workers. Stevens, 2012, disclosed that planning is the process of thinking regarding the activities required to achieve the desired goal. Planning is based on foresight, the fundamental capacity for mental time travel. According to Peterson, 2013, Planning is a conscious as well as subconscious activity. It is an anticipatory decision-making process that helps in coping with complexities. Howard, 2014, claimed that planning includes the plan, the thought process, action, and implementation. Planning gives more power over the future. Jordan, 2012, said that planning is not just a professional activity, it is a feature of everyday life, whether for career advancement, organizing an event, or even just getting through a busy day. Vladimir, 2013, disclosed that planning is one of the executive functions of the brain, encompassing the neurological processes involved in the formulation, evaluation, and selection of a sequence of thoughts and actions to achieve the desired goal. According to Nordman, 2012, planning can become a management process, concerned with defining goals for a future direction and determining the missions and resources to achieve those targets. Lou Smith, 2013, discussed that planning is the fundamental management function, which involves deciding beforehand what is to be done, when is it to be done, how it is to be done, and who is going to do it. Stark, 2012, mentioned that planning is nothing but thinking before the action takes place. It helps us to take a peep into the future and decide in advance the way to deal with the situations which we are going to encounter in the future. It involves logical thinking and rational decision-making. Harp, 2012, stated that planning is a first and foremost managerial function that provides the base for other functions of the management, i.e. organizing, staffing, directing, and controlling, as they are performed within the periphery of the plans made. According to Riley, 2012, planning focuses on defining the goals of the organization, identifying alternative courses of action, and deciding the appropriate action plan, which is to be undertaken for reaching the goals. Armstrong, 2013, said that planning is pervasive in the sense that it is present in all the segments and is required at all levels of the organization. Although the scope of planning varies at different levels and departments. Oliver, 2015, discussed that plans are made for a specific term, say for a month, quarter, year, and so on. Once that period is over, new plans are drawn, considering the organization's present and future requirements and conditions. It is a mental exercise that it involves the application of mind, to think, forecast, imagine, intelligently innovate, etc. Polly, 2013. Owen, 2012, disclosed that in the process of planning we take a sneak peek of the future. It encompasses looking into the future, analyzing and predicting it so that the organization can face future challenges effectively. Brahm, 2014, stated that decisions are made regarding the choice of alternative courses of action that can be undertaken to reach the goal. Sloan, 2015, disclosed that planning is concerned with setting objectives, targets, and formulating plans to accomplish them. Avery, 2014, said that planning is present in all types of organizations, households, sectors, economies, etc. We need to plan because the future is highly uncertain and no one can predict the future with 100% accuracy, as the conditions can change at any time. Hence, planning is the basic requirement of any organization for survival, growth, and success. Coronaviruses belong to a large family of viruses causing a wide spectrum of illnesses, ranging from very mild i.e. common cold to severe illnesses such as Middle East Respiratory Syndrome, MERS-CoV, and severe acute respiratory syndrome, SARS-CoV. Numerous other coronaviruses circulate among animals, including camels and some bat species. Rarely, some animal coronaviruses can evolve to cause illness in people. Sometimes coronaviruses may develop the ability to spread from person to person, for example, MERS-CoV, which was first reported in Saudi Arabia in 2012, and the SARS-CoV, first recognized in China in 2002. The COVID-19 is a new strain that has not been previously identified in humans. This research does contribute to the development of my idea. Initially, the title was appealing to me because it seemed to refer to teaching methodologies which are my area of interest. However, after reading it, I realized that the findings were relevant especially in this pandemic situation that we continue facing. For us, teachers, to learn to adjust and be capable enough to handle a situation like this to improve the teaching-learning process. As we have seen from previous health emergencies, most recently the Ebola outbreaks, the impact on education is likely to be most devastating in countries with already low learning outcomes, high dropout rates, and low resilience to shocks. While school closures seem to present a logical solution to enforcing social distancing within communities, prolonged closures tend to have a disproportionately negative impact on the most vulnerable students. Research proposal. Level of preparedness of elementary teachers in Magdalena District towards COVID-19. A basis for contingency planning. The general objective is to assess the level of preparedness of elementary teachers in Magdalena District towards COVID-19. Specific objectives: to identify the different preparations done by the elementary teachers in Magdalena District towards COVID-19. To determine the relationship of level of preparedness on contingency planning.